majority. There is an agency called the Majority Agency for Joint Intelligence. Let me see if I got any other goodies to show you, and then I'll say a few final words to wrap it up. I think I do have some things that you might like to see. I want to show you how disinformation works. Not too long ago, when I first began talking about what I knew, John Lear asked me to come to his home for an interview with PM Magazine. I thought, wow, this is incredible. These people really want to put it on the air? I can't believe it, because it's never happened in the past. You see, there's always been an intense campaign of denial, ridicule, debunking, and character assassination. So I went there in all good faith, and John Lear and I, knowing what had happened to people in the past, took the producer and the camera crew aside, and we said, listen, this was about 8 o'clock in the morning. We said, listen, we'll do this provided one thing, that you submit to a complete briefing by each one of us on everything that we know and all the documents that we possess and the videotapes and the maps that we will show you and the letters that we have from officials of the government admitting that this is true, etc., etc., etc. They agreed to that. So we did it. We briefed them for approximately 8 solid hours with no breaks. When we were through, they were convinced. You see, because we presented the information to them without all the other comments like I'm making tonight, and for 8 solid hours of evidence, not talk, evidence, things that you can see and cannot doubt. And then they spent 4 hours filming us, John Lear and I, and we told them literally everything we knew. And this was for a 30-minute program, and she said, boy, this is going to be the greatest show in the history of television. And John said, you'll never get it on the air. And she says, they've never censored anything that I've ever produced, and everything I've produced they put on the air exactly like I've edited it. And I said, well, I've got to agree with John. I really don't believe it'll air. Well, it aired. And what I'm going to show you is the results of what I have just told you. This is what aired, and I want you to watch it. And then you'll go back to your television set with a different kind of a viewpoint and a different knowledge, I hope. Here it is.
Years now, there has been a small but very vocal minority in this country who make the claim that we have been visited on a regular basis by extraterrestrials. Now, generally they are dismissed as cranks or crackpots by most of us, but they persist in their belief that the aliens are with us. Some of these people, however, are a little difficult to dismiss. Men like John Lear, who you will meet tonight. John says that he has had government connections in the past and that the government trying to discredit him because it's all part of a giant cover-up.
People are being abducted and not returned. People are being used for food. The aliens are eating us. They're experimenting with us. Horrible, unspeakable experimentations.
John Lear's is an unbelievable story. He's certain that we have been invaded by an alien culture, that they are experimenting on us, and that the U.S. government knows about it. In fact, it's their most guarded, top secret. It all began on a hot July night in 1947, when, according to Lear and others, an alien craft crashed on a remote ranch near Roswell, New Mexico. Eyewitnesses, the local papers, even the first military men at the site reported a crashed UFO. Then, suddenly the top brass swarmed to the site. Witnesses were sworn to secrecy, and every speck of debris was literally vacuumed from the dusty desert floor. A news story was issued. It, said military officials, was nothing more than a crashed weather balloon.
government said it was nothing more than a fabrication to get the press off their backs. The evidence suggests it was a spacecraft, and the evidence suggests the government grabbed it and carted it away and is still involved with the examination of it.
In fact, government documents unearthed via the Freedom of Information Act suggest that both craft and alien bodies had been retrieved. However, references are vague, and large portions of the text have been censored. What is known is that in 1947, the United States Air Force began a series of code-named projects set up to monitor UFOs.
The truth of the matter is, since 1947, we have collected and had in our possession at least 30 to 35 extraterrestrial flying saucers. We have collected and had in our possession at least 100 to 150 alien bodies representing at least 3 different species that people are being abducted at an unprecedented rate.
Lear goes so far as to claim that the U.S. government has established communication with this alien power and actually collaborated with them. We have even built underground research facilities in top secret areas to house their little gray scientists. And now, says Lear, they have run amok. They are out of control and they are not benevolent. Our government realizes it made a horrible mistake and can do nothing about it. Moore believes that it's not the aliens, but John Lear who's run amok, and he's outraged by his stories. Moore himself has spent years carefully and meticulously researching the UFO phenomena, proving, he believes, that UFOs exist, visit Earth regularly, and our government knows about it, and for unknown reasons is maintaining a massive cover-up. Stories like Lear's, he says, only discredit the truth.
John Lear called me up one time and was absolutely certain that he was about to be captured and eaten by aliens. All I can say is my sources go right to the very top, and if it were not true, I would not be risking my credibility and my life to come forward with this information.
There is no doubt that Lear understands the inner workings of the U.S. intelligence community. He's the son of late aerospace pioneer Bill Lear, and for years flew covert missions over Laos for the CIA.
He has done nothing but collect the most outrageous rumor mill stories that are floating around on the grapevine.
Alien invaders, government agents, secret informants, hoaxes, or scams. A cover-up like no other. Is this science fiction at its finest, or reality beyond our wildest imaginations? Has John Lear stepped off the deep end?
It's not important that you believe this now, but to file it away for future reference in a month, a year, maybe 2 years. You look back on this when the truth finally gets out, and you'll say, my gosh, the son of a gun was right.
Well, I suppose anything is possible. John Lear, by the way, is not the only well-connected individual who claims to have had an encounter with a UFO. Michael Shea, a government lawyer, recently told his story of an encounter to the Washington Post. And then there's the Japan Airlines pilot who claims to have seen a UFO over Alaska last year and was able to actually draw a picture of what he saw. Coming up next, basketball buddies, a new poll.
Now, the reason you only saw John Lear and not me is John Lear got all of his information secondhand from his contacts, where I was a first-hand participatory witness. Therefore, they didn't put me on, but they put John Lear on, and then they put him on in a manner, after spending 12 hours with these people, this is what you saw. And this is how they do things. There is a campaign underway now to discredit Whitley Strieber. I can tell you that Whitley Strieber is writing about what really happened to him. I don't know Whitley Strieber. John Lear doesn't know Whitley Strieber. He's not getting this stuff from us, believe me. I have one other thing that I want to show you, which is about an organization called Yellow Fruit. Does anybody know anything about Yellow Fruit? Okay, let me show you this.
And he said, they're not in my league. And so we minimized disclosure, minimized contact.
While Congress struggled to control Casey's CIA, another secret group operating out of the basement of the Pentagon escaped congressional scrutiny. Known as the Special Operations Division, or SOD, it was created as an anti-terrorist unit following the failed rescue mission in Iran. Much of what is known about SOD is because of the investigative work of this journalist, Stephen Emerson, who obtained thousands of pages of SOD secret documents through the Freedom of Information Act.
Special Operations Division became the new center for intelligence and counterterrorist activities in the Pentagon. In effect, it became a mini CIA for the Pentagon, established in the basement, controlling half a dozen new counterterrorism units, names such as Sea Spray, Quick Reaction Team, Yellow Fruit, Intelligence Support Activity, heavily classified. To this day, the Army does not acknowledge their existence, but all extremely capable, very aggressive in accomplishing their mission, the mission of fighting terrorism and guerrilla subversion around the world.
These units were ready to go anywhere and do anything. The bugging of Noriega in Panama, KGB cars in West Germany, the tracking down of a kidnapped U.S. general held by the Red Brigade in Italy.
They were all over the world, and they felt they had a mandate to be all over the world. After all, the CIA was a shadow of what it used to be. And the Special Operations Division was literally stepping into a void.
SOD may have been stepping into a void, but it was doing so with enormous resources. Tom Golden was in charge of financial control for a subunit of SOD called Yellow Fruit.
The funding was almost unlimited. I don't know of any time that we were in a position where we needed money. The money was offered and we had to find ways to spend it, basically.
In the fall of 1983, some units of the SOD participated in the U.S. invasion of Grenada. By then, the secret team's existence was known to National Security Council staffer Oliver North. It is believed that North, who worked closely with CIA Director Casey, quickly recognized how useful this super-secret group could be to the CIA in Central America.
The SOD, located in the basement of the Pentagon, could be used to circumvent the legislative requirement that all covert operations be reported to Congress. Thus, the SOD could become a convenient vehicle to be used by the agency to conduct operations which it couldn't get approved, or in funding operations for which it had no money, like support for the Contras in Nicaragua.
One of the most severe and scandalous projects ever embarked upon in the U.S. military was a project called Yellow Fruit. It was a backdoor CIA effort to aid the Contras in Central America and to perform other operations that Congress never would have supported. And the CIA saw Yellow Fruit and the Special Operations Division as a magical fountain of support with unlimited money, unlimited weapons, black money, black transportation capability. Basically, another CIA without any of the reporting core problems that had triggered the problems of the late 1970s. Some of the units actually participated in strafing Nicaraguan targets, bombarding airfields and oil fields in an attempt to disrupt and possibly dislodge the Sandinista regime.
But Tom Golden blew the whistle on Operation Yellow Fruit.
Normally in intelligence operations, you're advanced a certain amount of money to operate with. Once you spend that money, then